Hi there, and welcome back to rLounge. Today, we learn that we cannot change the past. Nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. This is part 9 of a long saga. If you haven't watched the previous parts, go check them out and come right back. Did you see that? That's your college fund waving goodbye. A small but worthy update. Eldest is my eldest child. Youngest, the youngest one. LF, lawyer friend. This time, Blabbermouth and brother-in-law's youngest child, 18 male. I'll call him Entitled Apple Kid, as apparently the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Entitled Apple Kid is going to start college in September if everything goes well. As some Redditors might know, I have a college fund for some people in the family, Entitled Apple Kid included. They have strict stipulations and it can only cover books and tuition, no extracurriculars, housing, or living expenses. They want to go and live someplace else? Fine, on your own dime, that is. At the start of this whole drama, the eldest had finished college. The second is set on graduating this year, and the two middle ones are busy with college. Entitled Apple Kid is the last one. With all what happened, Entitled Apple Kid reared his head from time to time with offhand remarks and in the beginning, demands for money. We made it very clear, in words and on paper, that if he continued with this, or did other things that were by law not allowed, he could wave his funds goodbye. Hubby and I operated on a notion of, a child shall not suffer for its parents' blatant stupidity. If they decide to be stupid themselves, they shall reap what they sow. Blabbermouth and brother-in-law have had some stern talks with Entitled Apple Kid to keep his head down and to his studies, so he could get his things paid for. They have always known we would never just hand over the money, but get the information, confirm it, and pay for it. Still, they didn't complain about that free money. About the incident. We've instructed eldest to not escalate situations, call us, law enforcement, and seek out other adults if needed and possible in case of conflict. Filming whatever he could was something he already had figured out. Well, Entitled Apple Kid and eldest met by chance a couple of days ago while eldest and his siblings went out together. Eldest just gave him a hello and turned to walk away. Eldest Apple Kid didn't like seeing him or whatever and started to shout and curse at eldest, preventing him to leave. My two youngest heard the commotion and ran to their brother's aid. Youngest started filming. Entitled Apple Kid kept pushing his chest against eldest, and compliments to my son, he never hurt him and stayed calm. When Entitled Apple Kid grabbed his shirt, he used some of his skills in self-defense to make sure Entitled Apple Kid let him go, but nothing else. My middle child then said something to Entitled Apple Kid. Is it a family's trait to want to go to jail or something? If you hurt him, you will go there. You might see your mother again. Entitled Apple Kid stopped, looked at them all, and ran for it. Kids got home, showed me the footage along with a witness's footage and contact details, and we made a trip to the police station to file a report. Then, we called our lovely lawyer friend to set things in motion for a restraining order or whatever is possible. After all that, we made a copy of the footage my children made and police report and sent it to brother-in-law. Attached to it was the note that another student thanks them for their donation of a college fund since Entitled Apple Kid decided he can do without. He threw away his chance with his own actions. According to eldest niece, their parents were not happy. Not happy at all. The community has a reaction. MJW217 chimes in. It never fails to amaze me how people can be so stupid. I'm looking forward to the post that tells us you are doing well physically and that all the entitled idiots have disappeared. I'm sure you are very proud of your eldest and his siblings. The only good to come out of this is that your kids will have learned how much to handle bad situations with grace and brains. Yikes. Yeah, OP, brother-in-law and Blabbermouth were definitely not great role models by the time they had their youngest. It seems their youngest really soaked up some of his parents' bad qualities. I mean, at that age too, it's hard to have self-control. At the same time, age really isn't an excuse. He's learning early that actions have consequences. Now he has to learn what his parents couldn't. Nothing comes for free. There's always a price. There's always a cost. You live and you learn. Let's read on. Mother-in-law goes to therapy. Another update on my mother-in-law. This one is shorter. Recap. Blabbermouth is in jail. Mother-in-law asks us for mercy and pity. We tell her, heck no. We tell mother-in-law to get therapy and go no contact. People in the story. Mother-in-law, good woman, but her love for her daughter, Blabbermouth, makes her utterly and completely blind. We are no contact with her. Father-in-law, good and wonderful man. Lucy, sister-in-law, another sister of hubby, not entitled. Hubby, my husband, rock, stand-up comedian, and greatest love. Eldest, my eldest child. Youngest, my youngest child, born 5 minutes after their twin. Yep, I have twins. No, not identical, different genders. Characters are freakishly alike though. Therapist, mother-in-law's therapist. This week, Lucy came by for a cup of coffee and she gave us some maybe shocking news. Mother-in-law has found a therapist. This one is part of the same practice of our therapist. We never told mother-in-law who our therapist was or where we went. Lucy could tell us that mother-in-law already had some sessions but didn't know the details. Okay, that's a good sign. Well, we still eye it with some suspicion, but let's see where this takes us. Then, last night, father-in-law came by again and told us, without us prompting him, that mother-in-law had found a therapist and had a very intensive first couple of sessions. Father-in-law has joined a couple of them so the therapist could gather some other perspectives. He didn't tell us before as he wanted to be sure that it wasn't a one-time thing. It seems that mother-in-law came home after a session and when father-in-law asked her how it went and how she feels, she seems to have said something like, "I really made stupid mistakes, didn't I?" Father-in-law asked her why she thought so, and she told him that what he had said to her, see previous posts, was something that the therapist said as well. Therapist apparently said that to love a child isn't wrong, but the actions that are caused by that love can do wrong to the child and, to an extent, others as well. Or something like this. She seemed very sorry and understood better what went wrong. Mother-in-law is finally beginning to understand the consequences of her actions. Hallelujah. We remain no contact for now. We live like this to think that this is a good start of mother-in-law's learning process. Although it seems like good news, we are still apprehensive of letting her in our lives as of now. Our therapist knows about this all and has asked us to think about family therapy. We are thinking about this, but we want mother-in-law to really understand that why her actions drove us to go no contact. Let's see what this brings. Aha! A bit of a breakthrough, I think. This is definitely a step forward in the right direction for your mother-in-law. Hopefully she can continue on this path. I think you're right to keep your distance still, though. Actions are everything. For now, no contact is best for all. Let's not jump the gun. Update. Mother-in-law continues with therapy, asks us to join. Spawn of Blabbermouth makes 2 new friends. Hello, Redditors. It has been a month, and I would like to give you an update on the current status quo. Cast, hubby, my soulmate. Father-in-law, my father-in-law. Lucy, hubby's sister, elder sister of Blabbermouth, younger than my hubby. Mother-in-law, my mother-in-law. Spawn of Blabbermouth, Blabbermouth's youngest, one who kissed his college fund goodbye, henceforth known as SOB. NN, nice neighbor. NW, nice neighbor's wife. Update on my own health. I'm healing quite well. I'm home now and the doctors are pleased with my recovery. I can walk longer distances and work from home. I don't work to my fullest capacity, but I'm grateful that I can do some things again. The update. To my utter surprise, mother-in-law continues with therapy. She goes once, sometimes 2 times a week, and according to father-in-law, has been making quite the progress. Mother-in-law has asked us to go to one of our multiple sessions with us. It was her own idea. She wanted us to talk about it, but in the confines of the therapy room, as she feels like the therapist is unbiased. All right, mother-in-law, you scored another point for yourself, with that in my still suspicious eyes. Hubby and I talked about it, between ourselves and our own therapist. We made a list, what did we want to talk about and what not. In we went, and it went quite well. Therapist started, explained why we were asked. We could say what we thought, and mother-in-law told them that she understood, more, better, finally, our standpoint. She had written down some examples hubby had used, and she had a talk with father-in-law and even other family members about situations in which she blatantly favored Blabbermouth. To keep it short, she explained why she felt how she felt. She understands that she should have done things somewhat differently and that she is sorry if she took Blabbermouth's side too much. She felt that Blabbermouth was like her in some ways, not the entitled ways, and therefore couldn't help herself. Okay, hubby and I just absorbed what she had said. I simply asked what made her see it this way. Some uncomfortable moving from her side while asking what I meant. I asked the therapist if I could be honest, blunt to a point. I could to a point. I told mother-in-law that if things got difficult and when she wants things to stop happening, she starts ignoring what happens. Like an ostrich, she sticks her head in the sand, hoping everything just blows over. Going to therapy is basically dig up every little dirty thing about this was difficult. What has happened that made her go against this tactic of hers? She looked me in the eye and said, "The last therapist made me see you and hubby as kind people who love their family to a fault, allowing a lot, maybe too much. That you love me, I ruined so much by my actions. Father-in-law said the same, aunts and uncles said the same, even the ones who hurt you. The fact that my own son, you, and the children didn't want any contact with me was the wake-up call. I know what I did was stupid, but I really had the feeling you blamed me for everything that happened and what was still going on." I asked if I could speak on my own behalf. I told her that I didn't blame her for what was going on. I didn't blame her for the things entitled cousin and blabbermouth did. That was their choice, not hers. She had nothing to do with any of it directly. However, I told her that by giving in so much in childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, blabbermouth got accustomed of getting her way and expecting others to do what she wanted. If she didn't get her way, she would manipulate to get her way. What felt like a knife through our heart is that I was attacked and in danger. Our children were in some danger, and she kept asking for pity and mercy for blabbermouth, condoning her actions, not looking or not wanting to see what she was doing to us. That went too far. That hurt too much. We understand that she loves her daughter, but it is her selective blindness, that condoning, excusing that behavior, etc., that just hurt us the most. I repeated what I have stated before. Love her as you want. I cannot and won't tell you who to love or not, but look at the actions of a person, the facts of them. She hurts us, your son, me, and your grandchildren. We also matter. Hubby said he agreed with this and added his own feelings as well. She started crying and saying she was sorry. She simply couldn't believe one child was hurting her other one. It ended there with a new appointment for a couple of weeks. Summer holiday for the therapist. I think it's a good start. So, to be continued. No contact will continue outside of the sessions. In the meantime, we have also had to deal with SOB, Blabbermouth's youngest. Last time, he tried to intimidate my eldest, and by doing so, he could say farewell to his college fund. The grapevine, his elder siblings, told me that his father, brother-in-law, shouted at him for his stupidity, as SOB had been warned not to do anything against any of us. We were still willing to let him use the funds for his college education, but he had to stay out of the situation. Brother-in-law and Blabbermouth were told that very, very clearly, thanks to lawyer friend, and they made sure that it was clear to SOB. Well, SOB wasn't too pleased he got yelled at by his father and by his mother during a visit. He didn't like it that whatever funds his mommy, daddy have or had were now being used for lawyer fees and not quite sure if there would be money left after everything. He didn't like it that he got a firm and resounding "screw you" no from his two eldest siblings after he demanded for them to pay for his college education. His reasoning was that since they had jobs, they should help him out. He didn't like it that both sets of grandparents aren't helping him out either with money. He didn't like it that he doesn't get any support or pity from anyone. He certainly didn't like it that when he asked our aunts and uncles for money and started to whine, everything fell on deaf ears and got told that this was a lesson that he needed to learn. Poor SOB. A lot of things happened that he didn't like, and in true blabbermouth fashion, he blamed it on our family. What does the idiot do? He came to our house, and like entitled cousin, family stupidity I think, he came by our house. Unfortunately for him, Frou-Frou and LeFou were waiting for him in the backyard, out of sight, when he climbed over the fence. Nice neighbor and neighbor's wife, and us, were at some elderly neighbors of ours a couple of houses away, and since the lady is a bit scared of dogs, we opted to leave them in her yard. The couple has adopted us, and since the lady of the house is an amazing cook and baker to say the least, we love to frequent the place and help them out with what is needed. We were sitting in their yard, chatting away when we heard the screams and barks. I can't really run, so I go and check the footage of our at-home cameras. Lo and behold, SOB is crouching on the same table entitled cousin was when he had to flee for 100 pounds of protective muscle, fat and sweetness, aka Frou-Frou. Now, SOB got the honor and pleasure to meet Frou-Frou and LeFou at the same time. SOB was not happy. Blue-clothed lads and ladies armed with shiny and not-so-shiny accessories show up and take him away. We don't think he can be legally charged with anything more than trespassing, but beggars can't be choosers. According to our inside informants on that side, it's safe to say brother-in-law wasn't happy, would be an understatement. SOB was picked up from the station, tore some brand new holes, got his game consoles, iPad, and everything deemed non-essential taken away from him by his father. He has limited access to his laptop, school only, and he has been grounded to boot. SOB is sulking a lot according to his siblings. When he started to cry to one of his brothers, he got told that it's his own fault and that he was stupid. He certainly doesn't get any pity from others. Why is SOB so entitled? Blabbermouth coddled him, and that had more effect on him than when his father set him straight. We do hope that away from the influence of evil, his mother, it might set him straight. Let's keep our fingers crossed for this. Also, our court date is getting closer. As of now, it is scheduled for the end of October if there aren't any delays. I'll update again after that. The community offers some thoughts on this story. Just an old baby boomer says, in other words, SOB effed around and found out about legal consequences. Please update me. Thanks. Karanath 128 says, anybody else hoping for a Frou-Frou and LeFrou sighting in the next update? Pictures, not words. At least, we know the apple did not fall far from the tree as far as SOB is concerned. Good on mother-in-law for finally admitting she may be a teensy bit at fault here and is open to constructive criticism now. Healing vibes sent your way. DOP replies, I know people would love pictures. However, since Nice Neighbor doesn't want pictures of his dog on the internet, I can't share, and for the same reason, I won't post pictures of LeFou. Mother-in-law is a good woman at heart and has given too much because of it. She is the caring type and wants to please people. Not the best combination in some cases. She has helped us enormously with babysitting when the children were young, and we noticed some spoiling tendencies. We never minded as long as they didn't go overboard or went directly against our wishes as parents. If she went too far, we corrected her, and she never protested. First of all, I'm so glad to hear that things are moving in a positive direction with your mother-in-law. Secondly, I think by the time Blabbermouth and brother-in-law had their youngest, they were living a different lifestyle, and their outlooks maybe had changed since they were getting handouts. This kid honestly sounds like a spoiled brat. What do you think of SOB? Offer your opinion on him and mother-in-law in the comments below. We're going to move on to the update. Wonder Woman. The story of how entitled cousin got hit by the karma train driven by his now ex-wife. First of all, as I'm not really familiar to Reddit, I just found out I had tons of messages from readers that I have missed. I didn't know that people could also do that. I also try to reply to as many as I can, but to the sheer amount of them and my limited time, I'm not always able to respond. My apologies. Some people ask me to update on WW. WW is Wonder Woman. The now ex-wife of entitled cousin is doing. She is doing amazing. She sold the house and the car that was in her name. She moved away to a place she is unwilling to share. She has a P.O. box somewhere, and we see each other whenever we can. In the beginning, she looked so drained and scared, but now, wow! Wonder Woman looks amazing. The kids are doing great. Wonder Woman has a job she truly enjoys, and her parents help when they can with childcare. Her ex-father-in-law, father of entitled cousin, does get to see the grandchildren, but without Coddlemum, CM, her ex-mother-in-law. What I didn't know is that Coddlemum tried to get custody of the children by involving Child Protective Services with false accusations. She got a slap on the wrist, to which ex-father-in-law told her not to do anything stupid as he would divorce her. Since they have a prenup, she will be left with a lot less, still comfortable, than she has now. Coddlemum loves to brag about her status, so divorce is not something she wants. It took a while, but slowly, Wonder Woman told family members and friends what entitled cousin was doing. He never hit her, no physical or sexual abuse, still plenty of emotional and financial abuse. I won't share the details. Wonder Woman asked me not to, but she is dealing with it as best she can. Like us, she, her parents, friends, and relatives are somewhat afraid of what might happen in case entitled cousin gets out of jail. She has a good lawyer, so they are, like us, busy with protective measures. This is entitled cousin we're dealing with. He is stupid, and we are low-key placing bets on how long it will take for him to show up to which place. So, small but a nice update. I'm glad she's doing better. One more community comment before we wrap up this episode. Rainbows Are Near says, I'm sure everyone reading this update wants to give Wonder Woman much love and best wishes for her future. Here's to Wonder Woman. This is such a great update, OP. I'm so glad to hear that Wonder Woman is doing well and absolutely thriving. I think after experiencing what you both did with entitled cousin, It's totally natural to be afraid of what might come. It's common to have feelings of PTSD after experiencing emotional and/or physical abuse. Alas, thank you for sharing this wonderful news. Nothing like a happy ending. Share another happy ending with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below as well. Until next time.